Welcome to Repertoire Wednesday with my dad, Dr. Joel Tranquilla.
Thanks, Everett. Today we're going to take a look at Peace Prayer by Elise Letourneau. And I'm joined by my good friend Carmen Hollett to discuss the music. Carmen is a collaborative pianist, and she is on faculty at Trinity Western University in the music department. She plays for soloists and many choirs in the area. And she's also one of my colleagues in Inspiro Choral, and she is the collaborative pianist for Ensemble 2021. Welcome, Carmen.
Thank you for having me.
We are going to take a look at this piece, and it's one that we performed together with the TWU Chamber Choir in the fall of 2019. And I've chosen to talk about the piece today because this video is going to be released on May 19th, and May 16th was actually the International Day of Living Together in Peace, so this musical work is appropriate for right now. The composer, Elise Letourneau, she's based in Ottawa, and she has an introduction in her notes at the beginning of this piece that sort of talk about how versatile this particular setting of the text has been for her. She's used it in a variety of contexts and employed sort of different accompaniment forces, but the accompaniment that we have in our score can be beautifully rendered with a very fine pianist like Carmen, and is a great piece for featuring individual sections of the choir and working for unison across sections, but also has a lot of wonderful jazzy and blues-inflected moments. The text of the piece comes from a passage that is attributed to Saint Francis of Assisi, and it's the kind of text that is so familiar even beyond circles of the Catholic or Christian tradition that it comes from, and we recognize this from a lot of other choral and vocal settings as well. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace.
Well, when I received this piece, you introduced me to it, and first of all, I thought, a piece for the piano. I was so excited. And so when we were working on it with the choir, I think the most important thing was to lock into the groove as a choir and as a pianist, staying on the backbeat, beats 2 and 4, being very important. And Elise actually has a quote about this piece. She says, "The rests are very important to framing the anticipated notes." It's the jazz idea of playing the rests. And this, of course, is important in any style of music, but it's a vital part of a piece's rhythmic fabric. But I always think about rests being as important as notes. And so as a classical pianist going into this piece as a jazzy piece, it was harder to just sit back on the beat because we aren't used to doing that in a classical setting. But I found it very fulfilling in the end once we got locked into the groove. And
yeah. The piece came to my attention, and this was 9 years ago, when I was the apprentice conductor of the National Youth Choir. In 2012, Elise's Peace Prayer won the composition competition, and so I was privileged to conduct the National Youth Choir in that tour of performances, and then we were able to perform in Ottawa. What would you say sets this piece apart, Carmen? And we've talked a bit about the text and how it's a very familiar text, but the style that usually this text, the musical style that usually this text is met with, is maybe not what we have here.
I was delighted to work on Elise's rendition because it was a fresh take on an old classic text, and so that jazz just brought the text to life again for me in a different way.
It does use that beautiful and really exciting style, but it's understated and really still it fits the text beautifully as a result. What is your favorite moment in Peace Prayer?
Well, it's the Dona Nobis Pacem section, and the piano accompaniment actually turns from a bluesy style into a boogie pattern. And up until this point in the piece, the choral lines have been mostly homorhythmic in texture, either all together or with soprano, alto together, or tenors and basses. But this changes at letter F, and each line takes on a more independent role. It's not a long section, but it just adds another level of interest. And the boogie, of course, is so much fun to play on the piano.
My favorite part comes
What
pretty
was
much
yours?
right after, which
Okay.
is right before the key change at letter H. To be loved as to love. There's a 3/8 bar of rest right before a key change. It's very striking, and the moment there when we move from a D major chord in the choir, and then we incorporate that 7th, and we just add a little bit of brightness in the sound, is a really great moment. Really just enjoying that sound that they were able to make together as the chord opens up. This piece is published by Cypress Choral Music, and for details on how to order this music and to check out more great repertoire, be sure to visit cypresschoral.com. The Canadian Chamber Choir Series for Accomplished Choirs is one of several collections curated by outstanding Canadian conductors. Huge thanks to my friend Carmen for joining me today. That's all for this week. See you next Wednesday for more great Canadian repertoire.
Thanks for listening.